Okay, so I got an email from somebody who lives at Gumpo Abbey and had a question. He used to live here, and so he sometimes writes questions. So he said that he was taking a group of visitors around, and he had a conversation with a couple of people who were atheists but were very interested in Buddhism because it felt less like a religion and more like a philosophy or a set of teachings. And they started talking about rebirth and the nature of mind, and he wasn't exactly sure how to meet where they were coming from. And they asked some questions about the relationship between body and mind, specifically if the mind was the result of the body, and how the mind could have a continuum after death. And you know, these people were genuinely interested. They were also thinking about things critically. But he kind of reached a point in the discussion where he felt unable to convey how the Buddhist talk of mind and mind continuing from one life to the next was different than the idea of a soul. Okay? So he was asking for resources, you know, on how to do this. So first of all, in Open Heart, Clear Mind, there's a chapter about mind and rebirth, and I think that's a real good resource for that. And then there's a chapter about karma, and it talks about a little bit how karma goes from one lifetime to the next. Okay, the difference between the mind going from one life to the next and an idea of a permanent soul is that the soul is permanent, the mind is impermanent. The soul is truly existent, the mind is not truly existent. The soul is the person, the mind is not the person. Okay, so that's in brief. Yeah, but his question continues. So he's asking for advice about how to engage with people of different faiths, you know, to have a really genuine conversation with people like that. And doing so helps him to see the dynamic quality of the Buddha Dharma, which can be communicated to many people. So then the summary question was, I wonder how you have learned to engage with people who identify as atheists. Actually, in many ways, I find atheists the easiest people to talk to about the Buddha Dharma. Yeah, because Buddhists are also atheists. We don't believe in any kind of creator of the world or managing deity of the world or supervisory anything, you know. So if you see, you know, theist usually refers to the idea of a creator or manager of the world. Atheist is, you know, someone who doesn't believe in that. Well, that includes Buddhism. Yeah, if you want to say that. With some people, you would not say that. If you were talking with some Christians, for example, you wouldn't say Buddhism is atheist, because just that word alone would go, you know, would turn them off. So with them, you would talk in a totally different way. Yeah, but with people who identify as atheists, I would say, yes, we too don't believe in any kind of creator or manager of the universe. And how we explain things happening is, you know, and talk about the self being merely designated in terms of the body and mind, and, you know, how they each have their own continuum, and the mind stream goes ahead and, you know, carries with it the imprints of the actions we've done, and, you know, how karma influences our life, and you know, what we experience, what we're reborn as, and such. You know, and I think, you know, often with atheists, you can speak much more directly about the Buddhist worldview. Yeah, because they don't have this idea of God in the way. But then you have to see, when you're talking to an individual, what, you know, that individual believes in, you know, where they're coming from, and then, you know, skillfully talk to them so that you can bring in some of what they already believe, which corresponds with Buddhism, Yeah, because that automatically makes it easier for the person to listen to the things that are different. Yeah. If you start out with the differences between what they believe and what Buddhist believes, then they usually, they easily shut down. But one thing that I think everybody believes, even whether people are atheists or agnostics or, theists or whatever, everybody believes in kindness, and everybody believes in compassion and ethical conduct. And so if you talk about that kind of stuff, then people really get it. And especially since Buddhism has, really emphasizes, kindness and compassion aren't just towards the people you like, it's towards everybody. And then describe how meditation plays a role in getting us to expand our mind towards everybody, and what love and compassion mean, and how they fit into our daily life, and so on. So I think that's always good to start out with, because that really brings people in. And then if you're talking with, somebody who's, Jewish, I was going to say, but then it depends what kind of Judaism, because they have different beliefs, or Christian or Muslim, who believe in a creator, then, then you would talk more about, love and compassion and ethical conduct, and emphasize that. And then when they say, do Buddhists believe in God? Then you say, well, it depends what people mean by God. Yeah? Does God mean, the principle of love? Well, yes, Buddhists believe in the principle of love, kind of limitless love. Does God mean some being who is more spiritually advanced than we are? Well, yeah, Buddhism has something comparable. We call them Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and Arhat. Does God mean a creator? And then, that's the point where Buddhism differs. Okay? But if you go through the other meanings of God first and show some similarity with Buddhism and then bring up the difference, then it isn't such a hard thing for them to get. Yeah. And then, like I said, with the atheists, then it's often much easier. Sometimes, with the people who have a very scientific perspective, who think that the mind is a property of the brain, or a emergent property of the brain, then I usually ask them, well, what do you mean by an emergent property of the brain? What does that really mean? And how would, and are the brain, ask them, are the mind and the brain the same nature? And if they're the same nature, well, then is the mind something physical? If they're different natures and the mind is not physical, then how could the mind be an emergent property of the brain, which is physical? And so just kind of throw those questions out for the person to think about, and then see where they're at, how much they want to discuss, and if they're interested, then talk more about, how Buddhists would answer those kind of questions. Okay? But I think these kinds of discussions are very, very good, and I think, it's especially good when he got to a point where he couldn't explain the difference between the continuity of mind and a soul. And like when you get to that point in a discussion with somebody, then you go, oh, now I see where I really need to focus in my practice, what I need to study, what I need to contemplate, because here's something that is not clear in my own mind that I can't explain to somebody else. So it's really good that I understand this, and this person has actually helped me by showing me where my understanding is lacking, because now I can go back and I can do some research, I can ask my teachers, I can meditate on this some more and clarify my own understanding, because that will definitely be a benefit to me in my own practice. Yeah. So whenever you're talking with somebody and you reach a question that you can't answer adequately, don't try and make something up, and don't humiliate the person for asking the question. Just say, that's a really good question, and I'm still a simple practitioner, and I'm going to go back and, do some research and ask my teacher and think about that some more, and I can let you know. And then really take it as something good for your practice.